look at one piece of the menorah and says, let's remember you come from a different stock, then I'm also not a menorah. Because the menorah has to be miksha. It's an indispensable, tonight it's an indispensable condition. And he starts explaining, V'hainu sheyeda, but for it, how does this happen? What does it really mean to be in unity one with another? So it says, V'hainu sheyeda, a person should know. So you could think, don't look at somebody else's negativity. What if don't look? And what if you see it? And what if you see it? Shelo yabit. So it could be don't focus on it, don't accentuate it, don't turn it into, the main thing. Lo yabit, habata means to look well. But really what he's saying is something much deeper. That's what he's going to explain. V'hainu sheyeda, a person has to know sheyesh lo mayla menorah. Just like down here there's a menorah, up there there's also a menorah. Everything down here, physical, is a spiritual reality that comes into the physical. So there's also above a menorah. And like he said in the beginning of the Maimer, what's this menorah? Knesset Yisrael. Knesset Yisrael is called a menorah. Vzeh dvar Hashem el Zerubbabel, the Torah of Behaaloscha, that even if it's mixed up, Zera Adam v'Zera Behema, all the neshamas, to Kedushas Klal, neshamas Yisrael, like we looked in the first shir of the Maimer, is a menorah. Yesh l'mayla menorah. Miksha. And it's made of one piece. What does this mean? Sha elyin yerid lamata v'atachtan oil l'mayla. When you have a large, what is it called? A big piece of ingot. A huge, massive ingot of gold. And now you hammer it out. What's going to happen? The part on the top, the part of the gold, the layers of gold on the top will often go down, end up on the bottom. In other words, when you're looking at the menorah, which part of the gold did the menorah come from? The base? Which part of the gold did the branches come from? Which part of the gold did the flowers on top come from? Nobody's going to say, oh, it probably is in the ingot. That which was all the way on the bottom probably ended up on the bottom of the menorah. And that which was all the way on the top ended up on top of the menorah. That's not how it works. When you hammer out the gold, becomes one big taruvis. That which is on the bottom can go up. That which is on the top can go down. It can also remain the same. But it's inevitable that it all gets mixed in. The elyon and the tachten gets mixed. That which was on top gets up on the bottom. That which was on bottom goes on the top. What does this mean? Hara yored lepa'amim lamata v'nichnas ba'adam ra. Sometimes the ra is something negative, something broken, goes down below and enters into a person who you're going to look at this person and you'll say, a lot of not good in this person. Sometimes it's the opposite. Asiyas eze mitzvah me adam ra lepamim oila l'mayla v'noitel acher. The mitzvah that a person who you would consider ra does sometimes goes up and is retrieved, goes into another person. V'chol adam tzarich litlis achisarin boi v'hatoiv shaloi shemahu me'acher sha'ola l'mayla. A person, when you're looking at somebody else, you have to be able to entertain the possibility that the flaw is actually in you. And the toiv that you have, the goodness that you have that you're so proud of, shemahu me'acher. Maybe it's actually from somebody else. Sha'ola l'mayla, it went up and came into you. V'ra'as acherim, and the negativity you see in somebody else and others, shemahu shaloi, maybe it's your own, sheyared lamata, and it went down. V'az yeh be'emes echad, and then you can really have unity. Hayorech im haprachim, the base, the lowest, and the flowers could really be one. Shekol echad yachzik atzmi l'bchinas yerech u'lechavei l'bchinas perach. Every person could see himself as the base and his colleague as the flower. V'chavei l'hepech, and his friend could see the exact opposite. So to understand this section, I'll tell you a ma'aseh about the Likkutei Tzanzerov, the divrei chayim, Rabbi Chaim Halberstam. I heard this story from his grandson. He actually recently passed away. Where I grew up, there was a shul a few houses away called Beis David Gershon on New York Avenue near the 71st precinct. The rabbi of that shul, his name was Rabbi Chaim Rubin. He recently passed away a few months ago. Rabbi Chaim Rubin was a grandson. He was named after the divrei chayim, the Tzanzerov, Rabbi Chaim Halberstam. his Sefer Shalsei Tshuvos Divrei Chayim, so he's known as the Divrei Chayim. And he told me once, it was Mitzvah Shabbos, I went to daven Ma'ariv there, Mincha Ma'ariv, and he said that tonight is the yahrzeit of his grandfather, the Divrei Chayim. So he wants to tell me a story that he heard from his grandmother. And his grandmother, he told me, said it over from her grandmother, who heard it from the woman herself. That's what he told me. The Maaseh goes like this. I've heard other versions of the story, but this is how I heard it from his grandson, Reb Chaim Rubin. But the Likkutei in all the versions is the same. Reb Chaim Halberstam was one of the Gedolei Had, was one of the great holy Jews of the generation. The Seder used to be then, you know, you were in yeshiva, you learned, and somebody would come and look for a chassan for his daughter. So the Divrei Chaim was in yeshiva, he was I think 14 or 15 years old. He was learning. He had a big mind and a Luyasha cup. And one of the big Rabbanim in Poland was a Jew known as the Baruch Tam. There's a sefer called Shalsei Tshuvos, Baruch Tam. His name was Rabbi Tu'umim, he was the Rav of Leipnik. He's known as the Baruch Tam. He had a daughter. And the daughter, I'm going to quote Rabbi Chaim Rubin, he says, the daughter was the nicest girl in all of Poland. Her name was Ruchel Feige. She says she was absolute beauty within and without. And her father decided for his daughter he needs la creme de la creme, the best of the best. So he goes to the yeshivas, he goes to one of the big yeshivas in Poland. And they asked the Rosh Yeshiva, he needs the best bacher. Sigh in his heart and sigh in his mind. He says, there's nobody like the Chaim Halberstam. You're not going to find somebody. He's the best. The Baruch Tam was a very well-known man. So he goes, he meets him, he sits down with him, he speaks to him for 2 hours. He's blown away. He's like, I can't get better than this. And he goes home, tells his wife Mazel Tov, tells his daughter Mazel Tov, if it was as simple. And Mazel Tov, we have a shidduch. Good. They would write letters to the mechaton and make a time for the wedding. You know, it was a little less complicated then. A few weeks before the wedding, the wife of the Baruch Tam says, I'm not so this. You meet somebody for 2 hours and you decide a shidduch, doesn't work that way. You have to know more. Says everybody says unbelievable things about him. I am not happy. And we have to see more. I want you to send 2 of the best bachrim, 2 of your best talmidim, to check him out and give us a second report. So the Baruch Tam, the future father-in-law, sends 2 of his students who are older to go check him out. They go, they come back, and they come into him and they say, he's an unbelievable person. But did you realize his handicap? He said, I didn't see he has a handicap. You know that he's, the Rechaim he was somewhat lame. He was a little hunchback. He was an invalid in that sense. So Baruch Tam says, I didn't see because he was sitting in Beis Medrash. We were speaking for 2 hours. I didn't see. Wife hears about it. She says, Rachel Feige is a tall, beautiful girl. It's not fair. And the Baruch Tam couldn't forgive himself. To break off the shidduch, it was already, Tanoim with a pledge. It wasn't a simple thing. On the other hand, he can't do this to his daughter. It's not fair. So he mamish couldn't forgive himself. He was also a very big Rav, so he felt that to break off the shidduch would be very inappropriate. But it's not his daughter's fault. He's debating back and forth. It's already very close to the chassan. And yes, what do? Do you break off the shidduch or not? One day, there's a knock on the door, and a boy shows up, who? The chassan. And now he sees already how hard it is for him to walk. He's bent. And he right away says, I know what you're thinking. When you saw me, you didn't see my blemish. So if you want, you have a full right to cancel everything, because it's a mekach toas. It's not, you're not doing anything wrong. You didn't know. Later you found that. I understand. Don't feel bad. I forgive you completely. No hard feelings. And, if I don't deserve this, I don't deserve this. And it's fine. So Baruch Tam got so emotional to see, the dignity of the boy. He said, do whatever you have to do. So, he hugged him and he brought him into the house. He says, one thing I do want to ask you. I want to meet my Kala before we break up for good. I want to meet my Kala. I want to see the person I was supposed to get married to. He says, fine. So he goes in with her to a room. And there was a big mirror there. And they're talking, it was obviously a little... there was a sad component. And at some point, he tells her, let's go over to the mirror. Now, here we have to remember that by tzaddikim, big tzaddikim, the border between the physical world and the spiritual world is an easy border to pass, By some of us, it's like the border between Israel and Syria. But by some, it's like the border between, America and Canada. You show a passport and you go in. And some, maybe there's no border even. I'm saying this as an introduction to understand this story. They go over to the mirror, and they look in the mirror, and she gives a scream. What does she see in the mirror? In the mirror, she sees that he's erect, he's standing straight, and she's bent. She's like hunchback. She's sort of, what is this, voodoo, black magic? He says, no, calm down. I just want to tell you what happened, and then you'll make a decision. It's up to you. Before I was born, I wanted to know, who's my shidduch? Bas Ploini Leploini? I wanted to know who's Bas Ploini. God says, listen, we don't start showing things around, everybody's going to start making selections. I like this, I don't like this. Trust me, I know who belongs to whom. He says, you could trust me. I'm not going down if you don't show me who. So he showed me. He showed me my Kala. I saw that it's a type of soul that's going to be born in a body that is, that's going to be hunchback. So I said, Ribono Shel Olam, I have a big favor to ask you. Since a husband and a wife are two halves of the same, it says plagufa, switch it around. For me, it's going to be much easier than for her. I'll be able to handle it. I'm fine. Switch it. He says, we don't do it. I'm asking you, you want me to be born? Switch it around. I'll take it for her. Let her have the perfect physique. Fine. If that's what you want, that's what you want. And so I was born with this challenge. And the mirror, you saw the way it was originally. So she comes out of the room and she says, Tata, Mama, Mazel Tov. He's my chassan. And the rest is history. And everybody knows Rachel Feiga was the first wife of the Tzanzer Rav, and he indeed had this physical challenge. And he told me, Reb Chaim told me that when his grandmother told him the Maaseh, she said that when her grandmother said the Maaseh, that she heard from her mother, Rachel Feiga. She said his grandmother was weeping and weeping and weeping, so he also started to sob. Chaim Rubin also started to sob. Now, but what's the Havana here? What's the Havana here? That's what Miksha means. Miksha means, and this is not, it's not always easy to understand. I look at somebody, whether it's a spouse, whether it's a child, he's not even talking about family, another Jew. And I see something that's really problematic. I can't always ignore it. Yeah, you can ignore things, but it's a reality. So you have to remember Miksha. Miksha means, today we're individuals. I am I, you are you. But Knesset Yisrael begins as one piece of gold. And the Eibishter hat ausgehammert. He hammered it out. Sometimes there's a piece on the top that ends up on the bottom. Sometimes there's a piece on the bottom that ends up on the top. What does this mean? It means that sometimes the goodness that I see in me, I'm looking at this and I'm so proud of it, it actually is yours. That person looks like on the bottom. In the hammering, that went up to a person who sees himself on the top. And sometimes the other way around. The Ra that I'm seeing may actually be mine. I am on the top, and the hammering out, it went down to the bottom. So the husband, let's talk in this story, the husband is looking at the wife, or the wife is looking at the husband, and you see a tremendous flaw, challenge your spouse has. It's very easy to get angry and vindictive. I need you, I need this. You should thank the stars, thank God that I chose this, that I'm asking him to be with this. But let's remember who's who. Who's on top, who's on bottom. It could be that this challenge was yours, and your wife took it from you, or the other way around. So it's not, when are you going to become normal? When are you finally going to become normal? It actually may be my issue that you're struggling with. So I'm looking at you like, you idiot, you moron. No. He took a hit for me. What is it called? What's the expression? Huh? Took the bullet for me. It may be my issue that he's dealing with. So you say, come on, what am I? This idiot sitting over there. What's hat das mit mir? I'm on top, he's on bottom. He says, Hamiksha. It's nicht so poshut. So doesn't mean that you have to start complimenting the Ra. It just means instead of being vindictive and critical and alienating, we're in this together. So the question is, how do we help each other overcome the challenge? That's a different question. There may be a challenge. How do we work together to overcome this challenge? But what I don't do is I don't alienate myself. Alienation, that's the opposite of miksha. Because when I alienate myself, I'm not alienating myself from the other person. I'm alienating myself from me. If one part of the Hamenorah says, Echab nish medir, I'm also not a Hamenorah. The Hamenorah is miksha. You're not in touch with reality. So he says that sense of achdus is the real understanding that there's a deeper layer to life that we may not see immediately. I could look at the Ra in you and say, you know what? I'm not sure where that originated. And I could look at the Toiv in me and say, I'm not sure where this originated. And you could do exactly the same thing. On one level, I'm the flower and you're the base. And another level, I'm the base and you're the flower. And it's not a fake thing, that I say it and you say it and we're nice to each other. It's a genuine idea. It's a genuine idea that there is a mixture, a oneness, an integration, where on a conscious and an unconscious level, there's a lot of energy that flows in between ourselves. And that ability to be able to see that bigger picture allows people to be truly unified. That's the mixture, to be truly, as he puts it, achdus gamur zeim zeshalayabit biras chaver. The Baal Shem Tov once said, it says, Heicheach teichiach es amisecha. Why twice? You should rebuke your fellow. So the Baal Shem Tov said, before heicheach, there has to be teichiach. Before you rebuke, you have to rebuke one more person, yourself. Heicheach, before teichiach. One more person. You have to rebuke yourself always first. You have to ask yourself, am I rebuking you from a place of alienation, or am I rebuking you from a place of connection? Am I part of it, or it's just your problem? And we all know the difference. Try with your child one and try the other one. Try with your spouse one, try the other one. If it's, when are you going to stop being a meshugana? Ich bin der Normale, I'm always good, you're bad. The person won't listen, usually won't be effective. I always have to first rebuke myself and ask myself, where is this rebuke coming from? Is it coming from my own insecurities? Is it coming from my own issues? Is it coming from the fact that you're not living up to my expectations and it makes me feel horrible about myself, which means I couldn't care less about you. I just need you to fit into my puzzle so I should feel good about myself, but it's really all about me. The effectiveness is going to be much less because you'll feel it. You're going to get defensive. If it's coming from a place of love and connection and understanding, and even deeper, what we're learning here is understanding that I may be talking to you about things I really have to talk to me. And what this really, of course, means is that sometimes the best way to correct other people is by correcting yourself. Because they are projecting you. Imagine if there's like mirrors around me, and I see something in the mirror, and I start breaking the mirror. This tzedreita mirror has all this dirt. No, instead of breaking the mirror, why don't you go to the bathroom and wash off your nose? And then the mirror will be beautiful. Very often in life, people are projecting us, even if we don't see it that way. So where's my main focus? My main focus, correct yourself, go to a deeper place. And a lot of interesting things will happen. That's the idea of miksha. Miksha achazov. It's not so easy to live this way, but it's a very powerful way of living. It's a very wholesome way. It's a very deep way. The main thing is it's true. It's true. Because we're not alienated. We are one. We are miksha. We're not disconnected. We are connected. We may like to feel we're disconnected because it's easier, but it's not true. It's like you're married. You say, I'm not really, you are. I don't care what you feel like. You do care what I feel like. It's unnatural to say, of course you care. You have to work it out. Saying you don't care, all apathy is a form of fear. You know that, right? I can't deal with reality, so I become indifferent. You know when teenagers say, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. You know what that means, right? I don't care. I don't care. You know when your 4-year-old says, I don't care. I don't care. They stop making with their shoulders. What does it mean? They don't care. They care too much. The only way of dealing with it is saying, I don't care. Of course you care. Whatever. When your wife picks up her hands and says, whatever, right? Not such a good sign. Whatever, it means another hopeless conversation. And that also means that when you're having these conversations, you have to be able to look at each other because it's miksha. Don't run away from me. You don't have to run away. Now, if I could look at your ra and really believe that this may come from me, how am I going to speak to you about it? Very different. Very different. The Maaseh with Rabbi Zusha, right? You know the Maaseh, yeah? You ever heard the Maaseh? He was in an inn, yeah? And he used to see people, he started talking about himself, everything that he needs to fix. So we look at it as he was a smart diplomat. No. He was tuning into the Sinyan. Okay, let's just finish the last words here. You see, this is how the Baal Shem Tov and his Talmidim, the Balatanya, all of them, they wanted Yidden to be. This is how they wanted. There's no coldness here. There's no alienation. There's no sense of superiority. This is the Tzemach Tzedek, the fourth Lubavitcher Rebbe was the Maharash of Shmuel. He once asked his father, Tzemach Tzedek, was hat Vzeh gewollt? What did your grandfather, the Alter Rebbe, want? So he said he wanted that Chassidim should experience themselves like a mishpacha, like family. They should feel family, we're talking in a functional, beautiful sense. They should feel this. In other words, what they wanted is that Jews together should feel a oneness, should feel a varimkeit towards each other, a miksha, a sense of miksha. Doesn't mean there's no criticism, it doesn't mean there's no chesroinus, doesn't mean you don't have to fix things, doesn't mean to be naive. We're not talking about naivete. But it means how you look at it. The sense of alienation, of holier than thou, I'm superior, is completely obliterated. It's sometimes in religious cultures, you see it. There's one person who's on the top, other people on the bottom, and it's very clear. I'm on the top, you're on the bottom, and it's very clear. And the boundaries will not be crossed. You're a yerech, and I'm a perach. Du bist a terach, und is a perach, a parach. You're a yerech, and I'm a perach. And it's clear, very clear. And the Alter Rebbe says, you may be on the top now for a different reason completely. And he may be on the bottom for a different reason completely. Let's put it in perspective. And then you could fagin also another person's hatzlacha. It's not, you could fagin, it's not like, fagin. They don't have fagin in English. You don't have fagin in English. Oh, now Aaron could come and do work. Now he could light the fire. If there's no Hamenorah miksha, he can't light. Once there's a miksha, now Aaron could come and he could light a fire. Jetzt can brennen a fire. Without this, you can't have a fire. Lahad l'kesh b'chol hazayin neides. Shehu koyin gadol. Rav chesed. Koyin gadol, koyin is chesed. Ba'ave. L'varech amis. Tumecha v'urecha le'ish chasidecha. Koyin gadol is Rav chesed, the great chesed. Shekol ha-chasadim boy. Rav chesed means all the kindness is in him. Yuchal lahamshich me'avarah b'lavasoylam. He could bring forth from the Ava Rabba, the highest love, Ava Soilim, to the love in the world. To allow a Jew to be filled with love in a revealed way like a glowing fire. That's the Eish of the Menorah. Aaron lights up the light of love in every Jew. You always need the power of chesed, the power of love, to light the fire in every Jew. After they're a mixture, now they can light the fire. Have a wonderful day.
There's a Moshe Weber, about Pusabuk in Sharons. There's a Sefer, Yoram Moshe, so he brings down the parents on Lahag Shulchan Shina. I wasn't the Shana for 1 year or another.
Who says this?
Moshe Weber, he brings down this
From Yerushalayim.
Yerushalayim, yeah.
Sehr schön. Schwache Schleim, Shaloi Shinne von ein Yitzhak zweite Yitzhak.
That's why the Torah brings in again the Maaseh Hamenorah, we already know the Maaseh Hamenorah.
Shaloi Shinne between one Jew and another Jew.
That's why he brings down again the Maaseh Hamenorah, which the whole thing over here, because that's because he saw the menorah as being mixed with what's only the Bala and Maaseh. That was a very good Shaloi Shinne. It says,
where is this? Where?
He has to say it's out of print. I'm trying to find it because I learned with somebody who's Yoram Moshe.
I knew him. Yeah, I knew him. He was a Chabadska.
I knew Avi Weinberg in the morning. So Avi used to live there, and his son, he got very close with him.
He never had children, I think, right?
And he was not here. Avi, a boy, he stays in every Israel.
I knew him. He was the Hibben Yid. It's a beautiful Gewart, a beautiful Taich. Shaloi Shinne. Lahagit Shvache Shleim Shaloi Shinne. Sehr gut. It's very geschmack with this Maimer, huh? Nur Baden? Was sagst du auf der alte Rebbe? Huh?
Beautiful. What's Pshat Miksha? How does the bottom get to the top? Unless it's a melted piece of gold.
You ever hammered out a piece of gold?
The bottom doesn't get to the top.
When you have to make from a Zahav, a Menorah, what do you think is going to happen? You think the part that's going to be on top is going to be on top? It's going to all get mixed. Imagine you have a huge piece of gold, you have to turn it into a candelabra. Yeah, it all gets, yeah. It's a meltdown. Oh, you have to melt it. You can't just chop it. You can't just hammer it. You melt it. Once you melt it down, it all gets mixed.
Oh, they melt it first?
I assume, no?
Gold is soft. Gold is soft. Gold is malleable.
Huh?
Gold is malleable.
Gold is very pliable. It's, I'm sure they warm it up, no?
This is what you're talking about from the Rabbi.
Pleasure to have you. So this is what the Likkutei Maran says here.
Yeah.
Kuf Yud, Likkutei Maran Tinyana. People are very confused. They're entrenched in their actions. They think they don't have bchira. And it's not true. You do what you want. Likkutei Maran Tinyana Kuf Yud.
Yeah. Beautiful, right?
Somebody asked Reb Nachman, how does bchira work? He said it's very simple. If you want, you do. If you don't want, you don't do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask these. I think these Gemara says that in the next world, people on the bottom are on the top.
Yeah. Same word, yeah, same word. Yeah, Baba Basra. The Gemara says there was a Jew named Yosef, the son of Rabbi Yeshua, I think, right? Baba Basra Daf Yud. He fell ill, what we call a near-death experience, comatose. He came back. His father said, what did you see? He said, Olam hafuch ra'isi. I saw a topsy-turvy world. Those who were on bottom here are above there. And those who are on top here are below there. Olam hafuch. The elyonim here are lamata, and the tachtoinim are lamayla. Same word. In other words, when you go to a deeper place, when you look at the menorah Lamaila, he says Lamaila, it's miksha. And if it's miksha, when you hammer out the menorah, you melt down the gold and you hammer it out, you design it, it all gets mixed, yeah. That's what he says, Lamaila Taka, the menorah Lamaila, beautiful.
This class is brought to you by theyeshiva.net. Please help us continue the classes. Make even a small contribution at www.theyeshiva.net/donate.